My last video was all about why MMA is the best sport for your child and why you should definitely put your child into it. I'm going to split this into two parts. I'm going to split this into adult and kids. I'm going to talk about kids first, but I'm going to talk about, as an adult, how to find the correct gym for you. And obviously, when you're putting your kid into combat sports, you've got to find out what combat sports you want to put them in. If they're a young child, obviously if they're 0 to, I don't know, 6 years old, you're almost picking the sport they do. And before we even talk about how to find the gym, I just want to say, it is by far the best sport to put your child into. And I use this example all the time. If your kid goes into football, cricket, basketball, all the most famous sports in the world, hockey, if they don't make it, what do they come away with? They can do a couple of keepy-ups. Where if you put your child into MMA and they don't want to become a fighter, they know how to defend themselves for the rest of their life. And now let's talk about how to find a good combat sports gym. And first, you've obviously got to break down what combat sports you want. In my opinion, every single child should learn jiu-jitsu. Every single child. I also think they should learn striking. And with this, it's hard because this is really important what gym you take them to if they do striking. And the reason is because they're obviously getting punched in the face as they get older. And notice how I said, as they get older. If you take your child to a gym and within even 3 months of bringing them to that gym, no matter what the age or any age until under 16, and they're sparring to the head, I think that shouldn't be right. That's not right at all. You never know, you might have a kid who's 16 years old who's just an absolute wizard and he's so good and he's adapted to it so well. But if you're 14 and under doing headshots, why? Especially in MMA, you can't even do headshots until you're 18. So why on earth would you ever take all that trauma to the head? For what reason? Literally for what reason? So, striking should be done. That's why I think MMA is the best, because it's obviously mixed martial arts. It's all the gyms in one. So if you're going to a jiu-jitsu gym or if you're going to a Muay Thai gym, if they're young, maybe below 10 years old, fun should be a huge priority. Are they having fun? Are they enjoying it? Does the coach engage? Where once they're older, once they're 11 to 17, then you still want them to enjoy, you still want them to have fun, but you also want them to develop good techniques, you want them to be safe, you want it to be a nice environment. These are the type of stuff you should be looking for. And now I'm going to talk about MMA as a whole. MMA, mixed martial art gyms, because it's the rapidly growing sport in the world. The MMA gyms popping up on every corner, in every city. So how do you find a good one? Let's start with the coach. This is just for children at the moment. We'll do adults in a minute, but for kids, this is important from 2 years old all the way to 18 years old. Does the coach engage with the class? Is he boring? Does he talk with a boring voice like this? Or is he like, yes, kid, you okay? What you been up to? Does he ask about the kids? Does he try and build a rapport with your child, with the kids in the class? Does he turn up on time? Is there a lot of coaches on the mat? Is it a structured session? Does he start with a specific thing? Does he chain techniques? Chaining is linking something at the start that then links into the next thing, that links into the next thing. Does he start with a fun game for the kids that has a bit of maybe wrestling in, that then links to a wrestling move that he's going to teach in the middle, and then he finishes with live of the stuff he was teaching? Or does he just do whatever? Does it look like he's almost making it up on the spot? Can he control the class? Or are the kids running wild? And sometimes that is difficult, because I've had it loads where the kids are running crazy, just having a crazy day, and that can happen. Some kids can be really naughty and it ruins the whole class, especially when they're young. In Liverpool, I used to teach 3 to 5 year old class, and there'd be 20 to 30 kids in the class. And a lot of the time, there'd be 3 years old. Imagine 23-year-olds in a class. I taught a 2-year-old class, 10 2-year-olds in a class. Imagine what that's like. But you'd be surprised that if the coach can control them, if they listen to the coach, if they respect the coach, they're extremely well behaved. All my kids were extremely well behaved. And that's what you've got to look for. You've got to look for, can the coach manage the class? Because if you can't manage the class, how's your kid ever going to learn anything? because he's too busy controlling the rest of the class. But it can happen if the coach does teach good moves, but the class is a little bit wild. It's fine, as long as they're having fun and they're learning moves. Fun, 0 to 9 or 0 to 10 even. Fun is the priority. Or is he teaching through game-based learning? Is he teaching moves in the way of playing games? Or is he just mindlessly showing a technique and making 4-year-old kids drill it for 20 minutes, making 7-year-old kids drill it for 25 minutes? There's a difference. If your child is at an advanced level and they're 7, 8 years old and the coach is showing his maybe a competition class technique for the whole hour, good, he's got a competition coming up, or they're advanced students, I'm sure they find that fun. When they go live at the end, they'll find that fun. So when you're looking for a coach, you want, does he prioritise fun? Is he engaging with the kids? Does he try and build a rapport? Does he turn up on time? Does he teach good technique? And can he manage the class? And the next one is from the coach, but it's also, the coach can just get unlucky with the kids that come to his class, is, are the kids nice? Is there some bullies in the class? Is there some kids who aren't very nice kids? And they're bullying kids, they're punching kids for no reason, they're fighting kids, and that's not a reason for you not to put your child in, because that should completely be on the coach. And I have no problem with, as a parent, if you think your child's not being bullied, not to that extreme, just a kid's not being very nice to him, just say to the coach, oh, can you watch that out, please? I'd never suggest any parent to come up and shout at a coach for maybe not catching something, even though he's got another 15 kids on the mat, which has definitely happened to me before. Something has happened in the corner of the mat and I haven't noticed, and a parent comes up and shouts at me. But what most of the time happens to me is because most, if not all, parents are nice people. They come up and say, oh my God, Joe, that's just happened, blah, 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 blah. And I go over and I sort it. And it's fixed like that. You know what happens if a parent comes up and shouts at a coach? Usually the parents get kicked out. And what that means is the child gets kicked out. So if the child did like it, unlucky, he's got kicked out because his dad couldn't close his mouth. So it's not one size fits all. It's really not. So you as a parent has got to realise that if maybe even if your sibling, if your child likes it and you try and take their sibling, your other child to the class and they don't like it, it's not on them, relax, especially if they're young. They don't have to love a specific sport when they're 3 years old. They're 3 years old, they can't even write the name. Who cares if they know how to do an armbar yet? Parents need to stop rushing children, but finding the correct gym, in my opinion, is really heavily based on the coach. Obviously, the venue is the gym too small and it's too crowded and all the kids are like almost rolling on top of each other and a lot of them are getting hurt. Then obviously find the gym that's a bit bigger. Is the gym dirty? Is it dirty? Is the kids get skin infections and all horrible stuff like that? Did he come away with colds and cuts and all stuff like that? Obviously then change venue. But it all comes down to the coach for kids, because it's all fun and engaging. Or if they're a bit older, if they're 10 to 18, then it's how good are they at teaching techniques, at managing a class, at managing egos, at making your child into a better sport, into a better human. And the best way to do this is find a coach who you'd want your child to grow up into, who you think is a role model for your kids. And if you're a coach watching this, why wouldn't you want to be a role model? Why wouldn't you? I've never understood this, where you see professional athletes, professional footballers say, I never chose to be a role model. Well, you got put in that situation, so be one. Okay, so as a parent, these are the stuff you've got to look at, and the best way to look at it is through the coach. So now moving on to adults. Adults, it's a lot different, because you're not going to a jiu-jitsu gym or an MMA gym or a boxing gym to have fun. Fun is the bonus, realistically. It's maybe to exercise, it's to learn how to defend yourself, it's to take up a new hobby, and if you enjoy the combat sport, it will naturally be fun. It will naturally be fun. And if you don't enjoy it in one gym, but then that doesn't mean to stop it overall. I think if you ever start a combat sport, if you ever start jiu-jitsu and you don't enjoy it, at first, try another gym. And if you don't enjoy it, then try one more gym. I think you should try 3 gyms. And then if you don't enjoy it, okay, it's not for you, that's fine. But I think all adults should learn it. You're learning how to exercise. You're learning, how to defend yourself while exercising. It's a no-brainer for me. Whether you're a 22-year-old woman who weighs 40 kg, whether you're a 50-year-old man who weighs 120 kg, jiu-jitsu, in my opinion, is the best sport to do. The best. It's better than five-a-side, it's better than tennis, it's better than paddle, that everyone loves. If you go to Liverpool, every single person plays paddle. But jiu-jitsu is by far the best sport. You'll learn how to defend yourself while having fun, while making friends. And a big thing with adults is you're obviously going for a specific goal, whether it is to learn how to defend yourself. If it's jiu-jitsu, maybe to get a black belt. Black belts take 10 years, so you have got to be prepared to stuff it out for a long time. And as an adult, there's obviously 2 different ways. There's obviously an adult who wants to become a professional fighter and an adult who's doing it as a hobby. Most of this stuff I'm going to talk about is a hobby. If you're a professional athlete, you want to go to the places with the best talent, with the best coaching. And if you've trained for a sustained period of time, you know what good coaching looks like. If you go to Thailand, just go to Thailand for 2 weeks and you'll realise how good coaching can be when you go to the highest gyms. You can see a lot of bad coaching there as well. But if you go to Bang Tao, Tiger Muay Thai, loads of gyms, Super Pro Samui, these gyms have some of the highest coaching in the world, best coaching in the world for combat sport, whether that be jiu-jitsu, wrestling, Muay Thai, obviously Muay Thai. So that's how you can go see what good coaching looks like. Then go back to your city and find gyms that recreate that. And or you can do what loads of people do, is just move to Thailand. But this is for the hobbyists now. Combat sport is one of the best ways to improve your social skills. And the reason that is because, especially jiu-jitsu, if you're brand new and you're going to a new gym and you've never done jiu-jitsu before, the reason it's so good for improving social skills is you've got to lay on someone. You've got to roll around with someone, with multiple people. And it can be difficult for you to overcome that barrier of rolling around with people, being dead sweaty and rolling around with people. It's funny to say, it sounds funny, but once you do it, that fear factor, it goes completely. You realise that everyone's really nice and the coach really looks after you in every jiu-jitsu gym, whether you're a little 5-foot woman and you're going to a jiu-jitsu class, the coach will look after you. The coach isn't going to throw you in with a big, massive 6'5" fella and he's just going to beat you up and choke you out and armbar you. It's not going to be like that at all. The coach will look after you, and obviously you've got to find a coach that looks after his students. You don't want to go to a class and everyone's coming away injured because there's one guy who's absolutely smashing people and the coach isn't saying anything. So when you're doing, whether that be jiu-jitsu, MMA, striking, and when it's striking as well, it's super important you get a good coach as well, because you're taking shots to the head, and what should never happen is on your second session someone's trying to knock you out when you've never done striking before in your life and you don't even know how to throw a punch. That's on the coach. If that ever happens, go to a different gym, in my opinion. Because why would you want to just get beaten up on the job and get absolutely smashed, get all that head trauma for what? You don't need that head trauma when you're starting to learn. That's on the coach being irresponsible or just an egomaniac if that's happening. So, as an adult, the things to look for: is it a busy gym? Because the busier, obviously, the less awkward it is, the easier it is to make friends. And do they have a beginner program? If you're someone who's never done it before, you don't really want to go in and the whole class of blue belts, purple belts, black belts. It can be fun and you can learn really fast that way, but you want to roll around with a mixture of both, in my opinion. But a lot of fundamental class, like I taught a fundamental class back in Liverpool, there was 60 people on the mat. Half of them were blue belts, half of them were white belts, some of them were beginners. And so that when a beginner comes in, me as the coach, I know who to put them with, who are good. good and safe. Big difference between someone who's good and wild and good and safe. So I know who to put them with if I want them to roll with a beginner, and who to put them with if I want them to roll with someone good. Another thing to look out for, does the coach teach good technique? The best way to know this is go to a class, a jiu-jitsu class, a wrestling class, a striking class, and whatever class you do, whether they teach an armbar, go home and YouTube how to do an armbar. Watch 5 different videos, and there's a good chance in the 5 videos, they'll say roughly the same thing. If the coach taught something completely different and taught the exact same move in a weird way and didn't explain certain techniques and missed out different points, then there's a good chance he's a rubbish coach. One thing to notice, if they are a good coach, there's a good chance they'll use clear and detailed answers. Put your right hand on their left tricep. With your right knee, bring it to the left of their inner thigh. Clear, detailed answer, and they'll show it too. So it's not put this there, everyone got that? Yeah, go ahead, let's go. It's not that, that's rubbish coaching. So find a good coach, someone who teaches good technique, and the good way to know that is find a gym that is 1, busy, and 2, they have good athletes or have good competitors, and good competitors can just be good white belt competitors. And I always say go with a friend, because it removes the awkwardness of rolling with someone you don't know. And it's fun. It's so fun. It's so fun to learn combat sport. And the last thing to look at for an adult going to a gym is it safe? That is the most important one. Is it safe? If you leave a class and you think they didn't look after you in the slightest for safety, never go back to that gym. Never go back. Find a new gym. Okay, so any questions, put them in the comments. Feel free to ask anything. I'd love to answer everyone's questions. If you don't want to put in the comments, you can message me. I'll put my Instagram here. Just drop me a message and like and subscribe, and I'll see you later.